Hey everybody, welcome to the first ever Google Apps Referral Program online meetup. My name is John Merrifield and I have the pleasure of being your host today for this ecstatic event. Now what I want to focus on first is about you joining this program. Now this is a global program and it's a community of everyone really working together on this. As you can see, we have people from over 20 countries in this program. And so just know that you're part of a global team, and we had over 4,000 people sign up for this event alone. Now, a couple ground rules for today. First, we want you to be interactive with us. So you can see on the top of the presentation, there's an actual Google short link. What you can do is open up a new tab, type that in, and submit your questions for today. That way, when we have any kind of question and answer session, I can actually go through those and we can get those directly to our host. Secondly, we want your feedback. Now, this is a program that's always trying to grow and be better. And this is our first ever online meetup, and we always want to get better with it. So please submit your feedback form afterwards, but you do have to stay for the very end of the event. Because at the very end, we have a special surprise for you. We want you to take advantage of it, so be sure you stay to the very end. Now, there's a lot of people involved in this program, but what we want to do is bring our host on first. Now, Prajesh is the founder of this program. He couldn't be with us physically today, but he wanted to share with you a brief video about the vision of the program. Now, after that video, I'm going to be joined by Delia, who is a program manager on our sales team. And she's going to go through how to actually sell and position Google Apps really, really well. After that, I'll have some program managers of this referral program join me and talk about how to best position yourself to do well in the referral program. So first, we'd love to hear some brief message from Prajesh.
Hi there. Thank you for tuning in today to our first ever online meetup. I'm Prajesh, one of the co-founders of the Google Apps Referral Program, and I'd officially like to welcome you virtually to the Google campus. When we started the program just a little over a year and a half ago, there were two things that we were noticing. The first was some of our most satisfied customers were introduced to Google Apps by someone that they knew or trusted, whether it was a friend, a family member, or someone they did business with. At the same time, we saw that customers, once they started using Google Apps, there was this aha moment that they had, where that moment of first seeing real-time collaboration happening or the ease of sharing a document with somebody else. The program was built on bringing those moments together and creating one magic moment, which each of you are spreading every single day. So thank you. I'm excited to have you a part of our extended Google community, and I hope you enjoy today's online event.
Thank you to Prajesh, and now I'm joined by Delia. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, super excited to be here.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do with Google and what we'll go over today.
Yeah, so I'm on the Google North America online sales team. Our team actually provides assistance while small businesses are exploring and hopefully implementing Google Apps for work. So today I'm going to talk about how we position apps for our customers, and hopefully you guys can take those best practices and implement them in your own referrals. First things first, it's important to cover what is Google Apps. So this checklist might be familiar to some of you, probably familiar to all of you, and it's usually how we think of Google Apps. So a list of features, messaging, storage, it kind of checks off what the packages include, but not very compelling. So I don't know if you guys have ever bought, but it's tough for me to buy just based off this list to really understand how it affects my business. And that's what your customers are thinking of. So really that list doesn't cover what is the true value of Google Apps for work. And that's the mental shift that my team has made to best position Google Apps for our customers. And feel free to send me your questions, reminder, as I go through this. I'm excited to hear from you guys. So the best thing to do here is to shift your mindset through a couple of categories to change focus from features to value. So those categories include qualification to discovery. So instead of putting your customers in a box, a list of requirements for Google Apps, actually find out about their needs as a business and hear from them. The next step is to change again from feature to value. So no longer just listing those features, but putting them in the hands of the customers, explaining how this could bring true value to their business. Next step, pitching to consulting. So the classic sales pitch, one size fits all, explaining to your customers, no matter what size, sort of how the features can function. Instead, begin to tell stories about the use cases, experiences in your own life with Google Apps. And then finally, sales consulting. So no longer fitting into that classic sales role of pushing the product on your customers, but instead recommending and referring as a trusted advisor. So let's take a deeper dive into each of these. So first, qualification. As you can see, just a list of bullet points here that people are supposed to fit into. So it's almost like you're applying for Google Apps. And it usually focuses more on you and the product instead of focusing on your customer and their true needs. So I challenge you guys to begin to address each customer as unique. And that changes from to discovery. So you can't find anything or find a fit for people unless you discover a little. And that will require you to ask a lot of questions, listen more than you speak, and really dig deep into the actual needs. I challenge you to not leave things at the surface and continue to ask questions. You're almost like a little kid. Why? The next step is value over feature to really bring the product to life for your customers and put it in their hands. So as you can see, yet again, here's a list of the features of Google Apps. Things like Google Drive, Google Hangouts, which we all know the true benefits and are using every day. But it's difficult to really understand how that can change the way your business works until you hear how it might cut cost or drive innovation. And for a lot of small businesses, we find that these benefits aren't able to integrate into their life until they begin to use them, get their hands on them. So a really great thing is to also start using examples that you have through other customers and explain how they cut costs, how they built infrastructure. For small businesses, they're typically the CTO, the CEO, the CMO of their company. This is where Google Apps for Work can really benefit them. We have that 24/7 support. You now have an IT team that's Google, best in class, security, always uptime, always there for you. You don't want to have to worry about your IT infrastructure when there's other pieces of your business to be going on. One email could make or break your month. So it's really important here to explain those values and give them kind of how we're preventing them from worrying about the small pieces of their business. The next step is to shift from pitching to storytelling. So when I got into sales just a couple years ago, we usually had to create like a pitch, and it was really one size fits all. You really kind of positioned it at a certain time when you're talking to the customer, and it listed things like 10,000 documents or 2 million photos. But really, when can someone even think about 10,000 documents? I hope I don't have 10,000 documents. Or organizational units just doesn't really ring a bell with a one-person business. So I've challenged my team, and we continue to work on this, into storytelling. So using use cases, kind of putting into real life. This is a great way to really have an actual conversation with your customer instead of a one-way dialogue. They'll actually feel like they're heard, and usually if you tell a story, someone engages with a question or their own story. So it can become a two-way dialogue. You can build up trust by sharing stories and examples. I always love kind of hearing stories from customers that then I can take to my other customers. And also using stories from my own life with apps, how it saved me when my computer died and I need to get on my mobile device. That's a really great way to sell it to your customers and to bring that to life for them. Next, so changing from sales to consultant. So this is an actual Google image search. I search for salesperson, and then consultant. So the salesperson, as you can see, maybe less than trustworthy, kind of like manipulative maybe a little bit. The classic sales that you don't want. Doesn't have any trust with the customer. And I think that that's often how I felt when I was thinking about sales. So I thought it was really me pushing the product on someone, kind of luring them in. And that's not really how the experience you want it to feel. No one likes to be sold to that way. So the best thing to do is to shift to this consultant mentality. So looking at the consultant, he's collaborative, maybe a little bit better dressed, and has that trust with his customers. They're actually collaborating and working together. So with a consultant, if we think about that, they are brought in because they're experts, and the company brings them in because they have a problem and they want their expertise. And they can take that expertise, learn about the company. So they ask a lot of questions, they do a lot of research on the problem and maybe what need they're trying to fix. And they can actually provide a recommendation that they work with the company to make sure is implemented. So that's where I want you guys to shift your mentality. So instead of pushing the product, they know that you love Google Apps, and sometimes we push the features and what we've done with it, but we're not really hearing the customer and their problems and doing that research end to be able to provide that recommendation. So shifting to a consultant mentality will help you really show the benefits of Google Apps for Work. So as a reminder, we're going to shift from that qualification, giving them a checkbox, making them apply for the requirements, to a discovery. So really focusing on the customer, their needs, why they even sought out our advice, and then feature to value. So instead of listing out the features, which can kind of get you into like a spiral of just talking about the features and going back and forth, you actually want to explain the value, how it's going to cut costs, minimize, prevent problems of their business. And then next, pitching to storytelling. So no longer have that one-size-fits-all pitch. It doesn't work. Change the storytelling. So begin to build case studies, kind of use your own experience here, and it'll be an easier conversation. And then sales to consulting. So bring yourself as the expert with your background and knowledge and learn about your customers through discovery and then provide them a trusted recommendation. So that wraps up today. Now time to take your questions. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Delia. I love that image of the sales to consultant. That's awesome.
I know.
Okay, so what we did is we got some questions beforehand from some of you, and then also we have some questions live. So if you have a live question, be sure that's focused on the sales side right now, and we'll be sure to address that with Delia. But first question we have is from Danny from the USA. He says, thanks so much for putting on this event. He said, what do you think is the most important sales skill when bringing a customer on board?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Danny. So I think the most important piece would be that discovery angle. So the rest of the sales process really relies on knowing the customer and being able to provide that unique recommendation. So we don't want to just pitch, Gmail if they're actually looking for a drive type of function. So I think that discovery piece should be the longest part of your sales cycle. It'll build trust on both sides, and it'll actually make the pitch of Google Apps come across as less salesy and more of that recommendation consultant experience.
Yeah, I like how you said, be like a kid, ask just why.
Yeah. Sometimes it can feel a little long. Your customer might get a little exhausted, but it will be in their benefit.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, next one we have is Rebecca from England. Okay. And she says, Delia, what are the most common objections you hear from your customers when exploring Google Apps?
Yeah, really good question. And we, have this experience a lot of, sometimes I think that's just not really understanding how this might integrate to your business. So a lot of things that we hear are like moving from the free model to the paid version of Google Apps. And again, I think about it as like we work with a lot of small businesses. So they're doing everything at their company, CTO, CMO, CFO, the works. And so I want them to have the peace of mind of that Google 24/7, all the time there for you, and really the power of Google behind you as a small business. But that's the biggest thing, like why move to paid? Yeah. And I think that can be a difficult conversation, but if you can find that out in discovery, you'll really find their pain points and be able to pitch the benefits of Google Apps for Work using that storytelling method.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we have a question from Drew right now, and he's asking more about, he wants to upgrade some people to unlimited while leaving others on a standard account. Like, how does that work from functionality side?
Yeah, good question. And we come across this as well a lot, Drew. I think the main thing to think about is that the product will really work if it's for your whole organization, especially in the unlimited package. So you're not going to get the benefits of that vault security unless your entire team's on it. So leaving people behind, even though you might think like they don't need the functionalities now, we've heard horror stories where not everyone's on the unlimited and you need that one email, or you want the security. And a lot of small businesses that we work with, or just generally businesses, you never know what you're going to need through that vault security system. So we have that struggle too, but I think getting everyone on the same plan and kind of giving them all the functionalities, you don't know what your company can create.
Yeah. And right now, can they do the different plans, or is it only one or the other?
It's only one or the other.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Good question.
Awesome. So this one is from William in Sweden, and he says, a lot of my clients are small businesses who can't utilize the more advanced features of Google Apps. So how do you position that for them?
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one. I think a lot of times people think of all like the innovation with Google Apps, but what I like to focus on is sort of where you're just like making the small business a lot easier, right? So things like cutting costs, preventing data loss prevention, it's all those like a way, like solving the problems before they happen for the nightmare scenarios. So I think there's the capabilities, a small business shouldn't limit you to not using some of the innovations that enterprises do. And the cool thing about Google Apps is you're going to get the same functionalities as like our largest clients, no matter what size.
Cool. And we have one question who is asking more about, I guess, a little bit more clarity on the differences between, he says Google Apps for home and for work. So kind of like consumer and regular, right?
Yeah. Great question. So a lot of the functionalities are the same. I think for businesses, what you're looking for is that secure network. So using your home page, having everyone sort of as your business grows with that professional email, and then also just the security of it all. So you have that 24/7 support that's not available with our free version, where you can call in. Really, I think about the nightmare scenario is that if I came in one day and my email had gone down, who do you call? And some businesses, if you miss one email, like that sort of throws off your week, your day, your month. So it's really important to be able to have that Google team behind you. Yep. And I think that's the most important piece for a lot of our businesses.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have with you today. So Delia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So next what we're going to hear is actually from a few of you. So people from the referral program giving their tips and how they succeeded in the program. So after that, I'll be joined by Shannon and Alice.
Hey guys, this is Harsh from India.
Me chamo William de Oliveira, sou do Brasil, Curitiba, Paraná.
Meu nome é Cláudio França e eu moro no Brasil.
Buen día, soy José Oscar Cota de México, me dedico a los seguros y las fianzas.
So I tell people how to use the product, what are the things they need to know. So if you are starting out as an affiliate with Google Apps, what I can recommend you is first understand the pain of the users, like what exactly they are trying to solve.
O Google App é uma ferramenta que faz com que meu cliente acredite que a empresa dele possa crescer junto com o aplicativo, né? Junto com a Google App. E essa ferramenta melhore cada vez mais o processo dentro da empresa do meu cliente.
Eu decidi participar do programa fazendo uma primeira indicação. Fiz a segunda e também consegui. E assim, as indicações foram de vento em popa. Os clientes entram para o Google através do meu link de indicação. Y así ellos pueden administrar el propio producto.
La referencia me ayuda además de tener un ingreso extra, el poder darme a conocer con otras personas. Yo soy un entusiasta de las herramientas de Google. Me gusta mucho platicar pues, de lo sencillo, ¿no? Porque todo el mundo siempre habla de que pudiera ser muy complicado, ¿no? O tienen la idea de que es muy complicado. Entonces cuando yo veo que alguien tiene de su negocio un correo @hotmail, @outlook, @gmail, es cuando entro, ¿no? En acción y les digo, oye, ¿por qué no usas un correo con tu propio dominio? Mi más grande ejemplo es la empresa de mi primo. Él se dedica a la compra-venta de casas. Cuando le platiqué las herramientas de Google, él tenía apenas 4 empleados. Yo creo que un factor muy importante es que el tener su propio dominio lo hacía verse profesional. Y bueno, del 2010 a la fecha, él tiene ahora 136 empleados. Los 136 tienen un correo con su propio dominio. Y bueno, yo sé que han aprendido a utilizar el resto de las aplicaciones.
Awesome. Thank you again to those who submitted their videos. And now I'm joined by Alice and Shannon. So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit more about who you are and what we'll talk about.
Sure. Thanks, John. Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm the Google Apps Referral Program Manager. I am so excited to be here today for our first online meetup.
And hey guys, I'm Alice and I lead the marketing side of the Google Apps Referral Program. Together, Shannon and I and the Google team, we manage the referral program platform, we create campaigns and we develop tools to help you refer more. I'm really excited to be here today, especially excited because almost a year ago, I hosted a similar event in our London offices. Obviously smaller scale, but I had a great afternoon. And the feedback that we received from you was great, so much so that we decided to bring this online meetup today so that we can have everybody from around the world. Thank you so much for that feedback. Again, we're always up for feedback. Anything that you want, we'll try and make it happen. Anyway, so this section now, Shannon and I, for the next 10 minutes, will cover the 4 main tips that we believe could help you be a better referrer. We'll talk about resources, the tools, where you can find them, and just general tips that we have discovered throughout our journey. So with that, I'll hand over to Shannon.
Thank you, Alice. All right, so let's dive in. So I know some of you may be really new to the program, and some of you may have been with us for a while. So wherever you are in the journey, I think this section will be really helpful for you. And maybe the ones who have been around for a while will learn something new. So let's dive in. First, I want to do an overview, a step-by-step of what happens. So you're going to share your unique referral link with your contact, maybe via an email or they see it in some post that you have. Then they'll click the link and start a free trial on Google Apps for Work via your unique referral link. Then in that time, you could maybe share with them a 20% off promotion code. So after their 30-day free trial ends, then they'll be able to enter the code and start their paid subscription at 20% off. Then once the company has been paying for Google Apps for at least 120 days, we'll send you an email requesting your payment information. And once you put in the payment information, that's when we'll be able to pay you the next month. And that's when you'll get your referral bonus.
So just to highlight, guys, the unique referral link is the one that you receive on your welcome email. All the other emails that we also send out normally has your unique referral link. But if ever in doubt, just look for your welcome email.
Yeah, and just like as a reminder, it's the format where it's goo.gl/ there's 6 alphanumeric codes. So that's your referral link that you want to share. Cool. Moving on. So if you didn't know, you can refer customers in countries within your region. So as you can see on the screen right now, there are 3 regions: Americas, Asia Pacific, and Europe. So within your region, you'll be able to refer customers. So for example, if Alice, you're based in the US, but you have customer contacts in Canada and Brazil, you can share your link with those people and you'll still get paid the $15 per user for referring Canadians and Brazilians. So just a note about that though. So if you are in maybe Europe and Alice is based in the UK and I'm in Italy, if she shares Google Apps with me and I sign up, she'll get paid 12 euros, not GBP. So basically your referral bonus will be deposited directly into your bank account in the form of the currency of where your referred customer is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, guys, so really to highlight, we have all these markets and you can refer across countries. So yeah, this is great news.
Yeah. All right, and then lastly, the promotion codes. So this is obviously a very exciting incentive to share with your customers to get them to sign up and get their discount and start paying. So just a couple reminders. Remember that our promotion codes are 20% off and are for Google Apps for Work only, not the unlimited edition. They should also be shared selectively, and we'll go more into that after this. And of course, you can earn more. I mean, I think some people didn't know that, so hopefully this is great news to you that you'll never really run out of promotion codes. So the more codes you share, the more we'll send you. So you can just contact our support team and they'll just send you more promotion codes as you continue to use them and share them. Just a watch point, make sure you do not publicly distribute your promotion codes on your blog, your social media, third-party websites like coupon websites and discount code websites, because that is actually violating our terms of service. So we want to make sure those promotion codes are attributed to your account and that you'll be able to have your customers use them. So make sure you don't post them publicly and list them out on these websites.
So guys, just to highlight a point here, when you do sign up, you receive 2 promotional codes. But the more you use, the more you earn them. Right. So make sure to let us know if you're ever in doubt or you don't have enough promotional codes, we can give them to you. But again, the more you use, the more you earn.
Exactly. All right, so let me hand that off to you.
Thank you, Shannon. This was great. So the second tip that we're going to cover today is all about resources. So be familiar with the resources that you have. We know you have a very busy day with lots going on. So we've done some homework down our side to select the best tools that you have, short, sharp, that you can use in your day-to-day to help your customers understand a little bit more about apps. The place to go is connect.googleforwork.com/community/referral. And I'll pause, take note, this is a super important link. It is your go-to portal where everything is. There are 3 main sections in this portal. The first section is all about the program, foundation, information, tips. The second section is all about apps. Again, we know there's lots out there, so we have selected the best things that we believe could help you. The third tip is about referral tools. Again, stuff that you can use in your day-to-day to convince or share with your customers. So with that, I have picked a few of these tools that I believe are the best for you. The first one is the Google Apps one-pager. So if you ever have a customer that's like, hey, I'm not quite sure, just give me something super short, super sweet on what Google Apps is. You have this one-pager available in our resource portal. You can just print it, you can attach to an email, you can add to your drive and share it with him. So it is available in all languages, a really great summary of the Google Apps benefits. The other resource that I find quite interesting is the Google Apps features. So if you have that customer that wants to go a little bit more in detail, how the form works or Hangouts, or yourself, you want to familiarize with them a little bit more. So you have this whole series under the title Tips and Tricks. So again, use it, print it, and send it to your customers, available in all languages.
Yeah, and after the storytelling you do and they're like, oh, I would love to hear about more features, this is a perfect opportunity to send it.
That's right, Shannon. the third one that I've picked up is, of course, Shannon today walked you through the program, the foundation, the steps that you have as a referrer. But if you ever get stuck, not quite sure what to do, or have any questions, we have what we call the program guide. Again, it's available in all your languages. You can find out more about the program, steps, and just key things that you might need as a referrer. So again, check it out. This other resource, which I find quite interesting, is a social sharing kit. You will find email templates, you'll find copy that you could potentially use it in your web or blog. You'll find some snippets that you could potentially share in your social channels, and a lot more. Of course, this is just a starter. You can add your personal touch and customize it to mean a little bit more like coming from you. But we know you're busy, so it was just something to help you get started. This other resource is we have collected a whole bunch of videos and stories to help you. Businesses that have already adopted Google Apps, maybe a video of what Google Apps is. And we have also started to collect really interesting stories about yourselves as top referrers. So again, check it out, videos, stories, and more. So guys, look, it is your go-to portal. connect.googleforwork.com/community/referral. It should be down on the comments on the YouTube link, so check it out when you have time. And now, back to you, Shannon.
Thank you, Alice. All right, so with the combination of what we learned from Delia about the product and about how to tell a story, to consult, not pitch, and essentially refer your customers, you guys are equipped now with the product knowledge. But I would say that another important thing is the customer needs that Delia also touched upon. So just review Delia's video and what she was saying if you need some refreshers. And I would say that's the first step to identify where you can refer. Secondly, fully understanding the program. So that's what I covered in tip 1. So now that you guys have all the full knowledge of that, the last step is to be reactive, both reactive and proactive. So in a situation, if you're maybe a web developer and then you see that you have a client that is using a personal email address, like on a different platform, not Google Apps, not on their domain, that's a perfect opportunity for you to bring up Google Apps and the functionalities and the value that it has to enable them to have their own domain, have their own professional looking email address. Maybe another scenario is for an IT consultant. You have a client where they're trying to move to the cloud, but they're really unsure and just need guidance. That's a perfect opportunity for you to enter the conversation using Google Apps and Google Drive as a way to start that conversation and get them onto the product and refer them. And then also to be proactive, I would say please use the resources that Alice just spoke about, the email templates, the web copy, and all of that. Put your own flavor and twist on it and send that out. That's super easy. You can even start a blog, or even if you already have a blog, you could write an article about Google Apps and the benefits and the value that it can bring to businesses. So I would say be both reactive and proactive. Now that you have the full product knowledge, know that you have to be consulting on your customer needs and you know how the program works. Great.
Yeah, I think also to highlight on this point, you have your own customer base, and on ongoing moments you can refer and mention Google Apps. And then you have like how to amplify it, which is using your social channels, your blogs, and your web. So kind of really to generate more leads. So yeah, it's really interesting to have that mix.
Yep. Alrighty. And last tip from Alice.
So yes, last tip, but not the least at all. What I would say is join the G+ referral community. Guys, we have over 10,000 members there up to date. There's loads of stuff that we post every day. Tips about the program, tips about apps, sharing resources, new stuff that is out there. You can also meet other fellow referrers around the globe. And most importantly, what I feel is that you exchange ideas between yourselves. So go to the G Plus page, search Google Apps Referral Program, and join the community, join the conversation. And last, as before I hand over to Shannon again, keep an eye on your inbox. We are always launching new campaigns, promotions, creating other resources to help you succeed as a referrer. If you have any questions, and again, feedback, we want new ideas. We want to understand what are your needs so that we can develop this stuff for you. Post your questions and ideas on the G+. So with that, thank you, and handing over to Shannon.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm just so excited that we had this event, and I just hope we're able to answer all of your questions. So I think next is, before questions, I want to say a reminder that there is a feedback form. So you can always put ideas and questions and feedback on G+, but for today, please submit the feedback form. Feedback is a gift. And for those who do, you'll be able to unlock an exclusive offer.
Drum.
Receive 2 times the referral bonus for all referrals that you make between today and September 30th, 2016. So starting today, once you start making those referrals, once they convert into paid customers, you'll get double the amount, 2 times. So for those in Americas, $30 per user, and so on and so forth in the other regions. Super exciting.
So across all the markets, you guys, double referral. So please, submit your feedback, not only to unlock the referral, but obviously to give us your honest feedback on how you felt today's event was, so that we can improve for future events. So yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Oh, and in the feedback form, you'll be asked to put your unique referral link. That's so we can identify that you are the one who submitted the feedback and that you're the one who needs to unlock this exclusive offer. So remember to do that. Cool.
Very cool.
All
That's
right.
exciting. 2 times.
2 times.
2
Yeah,
times.
it's fun.
Double.
I like how you weren't able to do the math for all the regions of the currency, which is fine.
Yes.
Which is fine. Well, cool. So we have some great questions that have been coming in as you guys have been speaking. There's one main theme that I've seen. This one's from Nigel specifically, but we have had a lot of likes around it. But it says, are there plans for a proper dashboard where we can accurately track our referrals? And it seems like there's some difficulty without having that dashboard. But yeah, so what are the thoughts
So
there?
thank you so much for that question. It is something we're looking into, and we are probably going to get to it in a near future. What we do send is every month, the beginning of the month, you receive an email. Again, be on a look on your inbox. That does include a summary of your referrals and what's coming to be paid. So you do have this information every month in your inbox.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. And so there's another question, will the slide deck be made available? Like what we're going over today? I think a lot of people would like to take this home.
That's great. I mean, we can definitely make this slide deck available. As soon as we finish, we'll post it down in the comments section and also available in our G+. So yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
Cool.
Sure.
So that's why they got to join the G+ community, right?
Yeah.
Another
Join.
plug for that. Good. Also, another question is around resources, as you talked about that, like about cool videos or potentially even like a banner ad they can use or something like that. Like what are the kind of interactive resources they can share to get it just more visual?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good question. I mean, we have, again, please look into the resource site. There's loads out there. I only picked up a few today to highlight, but there's a lot more there. We are always adding more things, and we have actually a toolkit on the horizon that could potentially be more around images and copies that you can use. But there's still a load out there already for you to use. And feel free to, share it with your customers, use it yourselves in your communications.
Very cool. Next question, and maybe this could be for Shannon, like it says, would it be possible to have a single landing page that includes the sign-up form? So there's no need to click like the start free trial button or...
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Right now, I think this person's talking about when they share the link and then the referred customer has to click start a free trial.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we can think about that as an idea. A lot of the interesting thing is a lot of our customers have asked for a longer trial, so it's neither here nor there. So we'll have to think about it, but great idea.
Cool, very cool. And then also, can I use the referral program when I'm trying to acquire 100 users to be a reseller? I guess that he's asking like the difference between the referral program and being a reseller.
Right.
Like, can you use one for one and one for the other? I don't know.
Yeah, so during the time when you're trying to meet those requirements to become a Google App Services partner or reseller, I would definitely recommend that you use the referral program as a way to refer your customers, and eventually when you become a reseller, you would be able to take those customers under your reseller program. However, I do want to put out a warning that anyone that you refer, if they're transferred to a reseller console before the 120 days are up, then you won't receive the referral bonus because you're basically going to get both. So make sure you have those people paying for 120 days.
We know you're trying to maximize revenue, but no double counting.
Yeah, no double.
Okay, and this is a question to clarify the double reward. So is this for people that become paid users between now and September 30th, or do you just have to refer them?
Yes, good question. So you want to refer people from today till September 30th, and not people who convert. So obviously those people who convert in this time are people that you referred before. So we want to excite you and offer this offer for those who are exclusive offer for those who are being referred in this time period.
Cool.
So not converted,
Okay.
but they will convert later.
Okay. And are there any plans, this is from Richie in the US, are there any plans to have a program for people that refer people to the referral program? You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. Well, Richie, great question. That's actually a fantastic idea. Something we'll have to think about.
Yeah, really good idea, actually.
I see these questions are
Come,
impactful.
ideas, please.
Yeah,
Send them
great,
over.
Great. And let's see here. As far as it goes with the resources, like, are those all found on the portal that you showed?
Yeah, John, they are. Okay. They are out there. And again, the link should be shown here on the YouTube. But yeah, everything is out there, and you can access this from anywhere that you are.
And I think there's actually more resources than the ones you highlighted, right?
Absolutely. I only picked up 5 for today, but there's loads out there. So many more videos, so many one-sheeters, and tips. So please have a look, have a dig. And again, we are creating new things every day, and we're posting things on the G+ and sending them to you by email. So yeah, check it out.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Kind of as we're wrapping up, one thing to think about is to fill out the feedback form. We would really, again, love, you've heard this a few times, but you can see that even as we get questions and learn more about the program and what you need, you guys can obviously look to adapt that and kind of bring that in, which is really cool.
Definitely.
And then also share your moments. If you've really enjoyed this, please be sure to share this on G+, Twitter, whatever it might be. Use the hashtag that you see on the screen, and we can, of course, continue to learn and enjoy this community together. So do you have anything else to say before we head out?
No, just thank you so much for joining. Excited to read your feedback and make this even better next time.
Cool. Yeah, it was awesome to be here with people around the globe dialing in. So thank you so much, and I look forward to our next event.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.